pause it there. All right, good.
Live.
Welcome.
Welcome to the Vulcan Soapbox. This is the platform where intellectuals use critical thinking to discuss a wide variety of topics that affect our community, whether directly or indirectly. I am your host, Freshly Snipes. I'm just here to get my shots up. Um, Enos, introduce yourself.
Yeah, my name is Enos. Like I said, welcome to the platform. This platform is built to embrace diversity of thought. Also, we're making attempts on this platform to reach um, reason at the highest level. That's all I got to say.
How's everybody doing? I'm Logos, aka Vulcan, and I'm excited to be to go over these topics with everybody today. Audience, feel free to get on board. We got have going on. Send any kind of questions or comments you have. We'll try our best to comment on them at least if we can answer the questions. But I want everybody to understand that this show is about everybody being able to arm themselves with critical thinking skills. No matter what your station is in life, no matter what you do for a living, no matter what you currently believe, everybody can utilize the skill of critical thinking. We all do it every day on a small scale, but this show is dedicated to help you knowing, hey, what is that? When I do that, what is that called? When I'm listening to so-and-so, how do I decipher whether or not what they're saying makes sense when it doesn't make sense? A lot of times when you have people speaking and they using eloquent diction and they sound really educated on the topics and it's different from what so-and-so said, how do you know who's right? How do you know who's saying what? Well, there's ways, there's skills, there's tools that we can utilize: critical thinking, logic, epistemology, extrapolations, and these different things that these techniques that we can use to decipher what's truth and what's a lie. And everybody focus on the information. Most people are information based, knowing this, knowing that. But you can know a bunch of stuff and make bad arguments with that information. Or you can know very little and make really good arguments or have really good points. So we want you to help you to determine between the difference between sophistry and valid reasoning, good reasoning. And you can use the tools that are available to you to decipher the information yourself with Google. But as far as how to know what's a good argument, what's not, that's what we help you do. So we look forward to you tuning in today on the show. Let's get it.
All right, let's get right
Take it
into
away,
it.
Enos.
Let's get right into it. A different format. All right, let's go. I'll mute my mic.
The top. Let me ask you this. That's white supremacy. That's white supremacy. What's white culture? I don't see Eminem building no schools and hospitals.
We got to stop.
So yeah, with this one right here, we got a few different clips.
DJ Khaled building those schools and hospitals.
Interview with Dr. Umar and on the Joe Budden podcast. So this is gonna be exciting right here. I'm waiting for I haven't checked out the whole interview yet, but the clips that I've seen have me thinking it's something we definitely got to tackle at some point in time. How we looking?
See DJ Vlad building those damn banks and supermarkets.
I really hate that argument. I think it's a really basic and low level argument when you have black intellectuals or black people in general who accuse non-African American or non-black individuals who participate in the culture of hip hop of not giving back to black people, as if hip hop belongs to black people solely. When there's so much like history involved that you can go do your research on. You can go look this stuff up, see how many non-black, non-African American people were pioneers in hip hop. I don't understand why you would look at a DJ Khaled or a BC Boys or Eminem and say y'all not taking care of the black community, as if they have some sort of responsibility to the black community based on the fact that they are hip hop artists.
Yeah, I think that, I mean, I would take that even a step further and say, just imagine, audience, imagine you're walking through the mall or walking through a flea market and you're seeing different things that you can purchase. And then you have to do this check in your mind, like, what society of people, what ethnicity of people created this? Am
Right.
I a vulture right now? And some people might think that's kind of extreme. Like, we're talking about this, talking about that. I need to hear what the difference is. What's the distinction? Why distinguish one thing from another on what to where we would want to dissect and break down what its origins were, who created it, or do we just go and do we want to do it as Americans? That's
I
what
mean,
I do.
any major sport that we play in America, none of it was created by or for African Americans. We were second to all of them. You can blame it on racism or segregation or whatever the case may be, but white people didn't create those sports for us. We came in, we did it better, we dominated, we took it
Yeah,
over. But if we're continuing along the line of thought of someone similar to Dr. Umar who says, this was created by a certain group of people, and I don't understand why this group of people is benefiting from it, then we're culture vultures in the NBA, in the NFL, MLB. Like none of those sports were created for us or by us. So I don't understand. Like it's a really base argument for me when I look at something like that, where it's like I don't see them giving back to like they're just hip hop artists. Like hip hop is not as a culture. Hip hop is not a black creation for blacks
yeah. So,
only.
so what I'm hearing is two terms come to my mind whenever you say that. This point, one of them is a double standard. So
100%.
our audience, there's a double standard, and that's a very common one. Most people don't understand what a double standard is. I'm more hearing people use the term double standard when it's actually not a double standard. But we'll get into that at some point in time. But a double standard here, where we expect everybody who's non-black to pay homage to black originated items and things,
Well,
but
not just to pay homage, pay money.
pay money, pay homage. But when anything that comes to things that black people we utilize that we didn't create. I mean, whether it's a car or a blanket, whatever it is that it's debatable or black people didn't really create. We got to look at. So we got double standard up here right now. A double standard is a code or policy that favors one group or a person over another. Double standards are unfair. If a teacher lets all the boys bring candy for lunch but not the girls, that's a double standard. So yeah, absolutely right. Nobody likes a double standard. And what we got to understand as a people is that whenever people are letting you do double standards, what that means is that they look at you as inferior. Because you wouldn't let somebody who you looked at on your level or greater have an edge on you like that. So if we think we're making ground by reinforcing double standards and asking for dominant society and other minorities to submit to our utilization of double standards against other people, what's going to end up happening is that we are making it worse for ourselves. A latent function of that, something that's going to, a byproduct of that is going to be that we're going to be looked at as being graded on a curve. So what we do
Correct.
is not considered to be as good because it's like, oh yeah, but we treat you different. We put y'all in a special box. We put you in a special category, so you don't compete in the same way the rest of us compete. So your prize is not going to be as great.
Right. To that same point, and to take it a step or two further, I'll go to the extreme and just take it all the way to the end. Where if you're preaching that, right? If you're preaching, we want our own thing, we want separate thing. You're preaching separatist ideology. Then my question to you, right? This is to the audience. If you feel like this, where are you separating to?
Yeah.
Right? You hear people often, right? Especially back in the past, but even now, if someone was to say something like "Go back to Africa," right? Go to Africa. If you don't want to be a part of America, right? If you don't want to work and integrate with white society to better America, right? As a whole, I'm not saying it's perfect, but I'm saying if you don't want to lock in and work with, where are you going? Where do you think? Especially because most of those people will also argue that we built America. It was built on our backs. This is true to a certain extent. Where are you going? where do you want to separate to? Do you think that somehow you will be given, be bequeath a section of the America that we built to do things on our own? How does that work? I'm interested in anybody who has that ideology or who subscribes to that thought process to leave a comment. Because that's where those types of thoughts go, right? Where it's like, listen, if you want all white people out of hip hop, right, or you want white people to pay some sort of fee, they would sooner just not do it. For the most part, they would just sooner not do it. You want them to pay homage. I've never heard a black superstar athlete pay homage to James Naismith.
Yeah,
I've never heard. I'm not saying it's never happened, but it's definitely not.
Wildly
well known. Yeah.
You know,
so it's just the double standard is wild. I don't understand why that's such an easy argument for people to make, especially people who consider themselves intellectuals, because it's so easily debunked.
I would say not who consider themselves intellectuals. I definitely agree with that point, but also those who consider themselves fair, reasonable people. I want to really invoke the moral aspect of it. Not everybody. I don't know what percentage of the population will consider themselves intellectuals. That might be a smaller group, but I think most folks consider themselves fair and reasonable. And
I
so
agree with that.
I want to ask those people to really search inside of your heart when you're hearing these type of arguments. Does this really jive with your moral code?
Let's go ahead and try to get back to the video, fellas.
All right.
I'm gonna just play along.
You gotta hit play, Enos.
So let's just keep going on.
He comes and clean this motherfucking apartment. Joe might not know who the fuck cleans this apartment. Are you mixed race? No. Or you a bunny hopper? Yes. That's why you have a liberal perspective. That's not true. That's not because you go home. That's not true. Yes, but that's not true. I felt this way before I met my white girlfriend. So help me understand.
Hey, let me do it.
I'm passionate.
Hey, while we're making that transition,
You have no loyalty to the black community. No, I do have. I probably got way more blacks than you. Okay.
And let me do it, Derek.
Hey, I have a question while you're doing that. Mm-hmm. When someone like Umar or anyone questions whether or not you have dated a Caucasian woman or Caucasian man, when they question your blackness or your dedication to the black cause or the black struggle or black issues, whatever the case may be, how does that particular dichotomy work? So basically he said, now I could see if he was saying I exclusively date white women, I exclusively bunny hop, we can have a different conversation. I don't think the conversation goes far, but it's still a different conversation. But Dr. Umar is essentially saying,
hold on, Vogue, how does it look? Is it better?
I'm ready whenever y'all are ready. I was letting Freshly finish.
No, is this better as far as the setup?
I think he's talking about the sound.
Oh, the sound is not good. Okay. All
right.
Well, I don't Vulcan. Is that what you're talking about?
Absolutely. The sound very good, and then of course it was facing the wrong direction, and we didn't press play.
So. Hold on, real quick. How does that dichotomy work? So basically, are you saying that me being locked in with the black struggle switches on and off, whether when I'm dating a black woman or when I'm dating a white woman? Like, how does that work? Is it permanently switched off if I date a white woman ever?
Yeah, let's get to the video so we don't have to cover it twice. Let's get to the video. Now the thing is, my order's a little bit different on the videos I'm gonna play, so it's probably not gonna be Dr. Umar coming up first, y'all. It's gonna be in the order.
Why would we switch? Why would we switch now? We're literally in the middle of this video. What's happening?
Because right now I don't have the videos in the order. Me and him don't have the videos in the same order.
I send it to you.
Well,
it's a bad look, fellas.
Then I might be in the same situation here, and if you send me what you got.
His is definitely a reception thing.
Yeah, but I mean, but I've never played with that. Now I'm gonna do it on live.
You don't have the ability to go through your videos on silent to see which one is Umar
But the
before you
cable's
put
gonna
it up
be
there.
bad. That's gonna be dry. I mean, I could do that. But it's gonna be dry spots to me doing that instead of me just clicking on the video that's right the next one and we just go in order. Then it's
Yeah,
simple and easy.
because we're literally in the middle
We haven't started yet.
of going through this video. We're 15 minutes into this live talking about this video.
He said, "Go ahead." I mean, Enos, you might as well come back. I'll take over from here as far as the video goes. You can just be part of the conversation. Enos, you there? All right, so yeah, I'll just play it on my phone and then we'll go in the order I have it on here. And all right, so we can't hear your audio, Enos.
Oh yeah,
You're muted.
yeah, that's fine. We can do that. Let's go.
All right, here we go. So this will be the first video right here.
Yes, there is a
Ladies and gentlemen, write down your requests and your comments about the last video.
look at the racial wealth gap. Yes, there is a gap based on 2019 data. The median wealth of the average white family is
You gotta put me in the
$160,000 more than the median wealth of the average black family. But take into account just two other factors: family structure and education. The median wealth of the average married, college-educated black family is about $160,000 more than the median wealth of an average single-parent white family. So perhaps there are factors beyond just race that, if we were being honest in this conversation, we could collectively tackle and come up with solutions. If the narrative for which you obtain and maintain power is based on this idea of a victimized community, then you have a perverse incentive to ignore all of this and just say that America is inherently racist and oppressive. When you do look at the racial wealth gap, yes, there is a gap based on 2019 data. The median wealth of the average white family is about $160,000 more than the median wealth of the average black family. But take into account—
we get that, fellas? We can always clip it up afterwards, so don't worry about this too much. All right, Enos, what you got?
Yeah, I don't have any comments right now.
Freshly?
I agree with him in the sense that there's a lack of accountability across the culture, widespread. And I think that if we were to start holding ourselves accountable for our part in the divide, our part in how this whole thing works, I think that we could start looking at that situation with critical eyes and working towards a solution. I could go on a rant or a tirade right now about accountability because it is one of my pet peeves. But I'll just say that until we start blaming someone else and take accountability for our part in our own struggle, I don't think we move anywhere. I don't think we progress.
I mean,
Or
yeah.
at the very least, we don't progress as quickly or efficiently as we could progress as a culture.
Yeah, I think that's something that's very common. Anybody who's run a business and had to inspire a team, a morale, especially in the world of sales and sports, there's all types of issues that can be set at a group of people. And for then sales, there's different seasons that you go into. There's economic seasons, weather seasons. These things can affect whatever people's amount of money they're making, how the customers are affected, and how they react with the salespeople. But through it all, whenever you're in management, you're teaching people how to do things and how to be successful. You never focus on the weaknesses and the individual as far as the customer goes. You always focus on what's happening with the salesperson. You never look at, the market sucks right now. The market's terrible, or it's not our season. You always have the person focus inward, and the reason why that's if we do that for things that are monetary, which for most is kind of the most important thing, is how you feed and clothe yourselves, right? And so that being the case, why wouldn't it apply to other things? We use that technique because it's effective. We know that people always need to focus on what they are in control of, not what they're not in control of. Because when people are what
100%.
they're not in control of, they feel helpless. Why even try? It's gonna be
Exactly.
terrible. So
Which allows people to use it as a crutch
absolutely
to give up and not work on themselves. If they have someone else to blame, they'll just blame that person as opposed to working on themselves to at least remove what they can control, remove the us from the situation.
yeah.
And for the people who would say, well, you know, they have a part in it too. I completely agree. I 100% agree. To give you a scenario, anytime you got caught fighting in school, if no one saw who started it, both of y'all got in trouble. One party could justify their actions based on the actions of the other party. So as long as we live in a country that is willing to acknowledge and accept, you know, things about us as people that are true, right? That are true as the reason they treat us like that, we'll never progress. I think we'll have more success if we fix us first, and that will allow a clearer picture to be painted of what we are complaining about.
Yeah, let me speak to that. To some, do you want to cut in? Yeah, okay, you're still on mute. But yeah, so the thing is that one thing I want to focus back on the video and the words on the video. You know, that's one thing that I've had to explain to people in the past is that part of the reason my issue with hip hop, it's the 50th year of hip hop, or closing that year out. My issue with hip hop and some subsects or subcultures within the Black context is that we can be anti-family. You know, when I look, you know, when I'm out and about at different places that are predominantly Black areas, Black establishments, it's popping, it's a vibe, it's lit, all the things we want to say about it. You see people 40, 50 years old still trying to be flying the club. I'm not saying that's wrong in and of itself. People can do what they want to do. I'm not here to judge them on that. I'm just talking about as a community. When I was growing up, my grandma, you know, my parents are 20 years older than me. Their parents are 20 years older than them. You see what I'm saying? And the thing is, so my grandma was a grandma when I was a kid, and she was late 40s, early 50s. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So the thing is that, like, now, grandmas are still out in the club trying to get it. They're competing with the younger women for the same guys.
So essentially, what you're saying is this is indicative of a larger problem of the degradation of the nuclear family in America and in Black America specifically. Okay.
Because the whole thing is, you know, and we saw you, go ahead and do what you got to do. So the whole thing is that the whole issue with it for me is that he talks about how the wealth gap is greatly reduced whenever it's two people getting married as opposed to just singles. It bridges that gap. And my whole thing is that one of the things that I've noticed within our culture is we like to stay young forever. It's your boy, it's your boy, it's your boy, it's your boy. You got 50-year-old men talking about it's your boy, it's your boy, it's your boy. And we tend to equate money with maturity and growth and you know, so I'll leave it at maturity and growth. Somebody can be wealthy and still be acting too young for their age. And it's not about that individual at that point. It's about what are you teaching people? You know, we need to get comfortable with the boring life. And I don't mean it's boring as in it's actually boring, but the mundane life of family life. Having a wife, having a husband, having children, being there for your children.
To speak to that, that life doesn't have to be mundane. If you have a dual income household with, you know, not 17 kids, you can travel, you can go on trips, you can turn up, you can do all those things.
Yeah, but what I mean by is it's not what's just advertised. When it's not what's advertised in the music videos.
Well, here's the thing though. Are you saying we need to? And I'll challenge you with this. I'll play devil's advocate. All of our heroes in the Black community. all of our heroes in the black community are young men, whether it be the rappers, right? Hip hop's only 50 years old, whether it be our athletes, that's a young man's game. Um, what older sedentary, uh, boring black figure do we have to look up to as a culture, right? There's subsects, right? If you're an intellectual, there are
I
certain
mean,
people that you can look up to.
I would
You're a
say,
businessman, there's certain people that you look up to. But for popular culture,
yeah, we'd have to go old school shows. We have to go to sitcoms. Sitcoms still, for the most part, show life. Like when you watch My Wife and Kids, you watch Family Matters, you watch Fresh Prince. Phil and Aunt Viv weren't out at the club. They weren't doing that stuff. They were living a family life. They went out together and had a good time. But like I'm obviously, you see me, the city I'm in right now is a poppin' city, Monday through Sunday. And the thing is that you see people of all different ages out there pop locking and dropping it, rapping, Migos or drill music. You see what I'm saying?
Vulcan just dated the hell out of himself.
At 40 and 50 years old. Again, Judge, I'm just saying this. Individually, who cares? People do. As a collective, when we have who's instilling in the next generation, who's showing the young generation family is cool? Who's showing the young generation that being at home, being a fixed position that family knows if I go over there, they're going to probably be there. When I went to my grandma and grandpa's house, I knew they were going to be there. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't let me check to make sure they're not going out tonight. You know what I'm saying? They was at home. If they was going to be out of town, what was going to be going on, you knew about it. You see, and my whole thing is that the black community, we're a cool culture. We're all a very youthful-driven culture.
That's what I'm saying. Who do we have to look up to?
The sitcoms, really just sitcoms.
Even those are not. We don't have any fresh sitcoms that depict us in that light. All of our sitcoms are syndicated or off the air that we would have looked up to. Cosby's off the air. You know what I'm saying? They killed his. I won't say they. His image is killed. My Wife and Kids, Fresh Prince, Family Matters. All of those shows are. No, like none of those shows, we don't have those anymore. Like, what show would you suggest from a sitcom perspective, or even a drama perspective, that we would have to create new heroes, to find new heroes?
I mean, I don't watch a lot of sitcoms myself nowadays, so I don't really know what's happening now. But that's all I really can think of. And the generation I'm really speaking to, our generation and older, and a little bit, they would be familiar with all those examples right there. And the thing is, like, I could go to the predominantly white side of town, the predominantly Asian side of town, the predominantly black side of town, Hispanic side of town, and just percentage-wise, you're gonna see an older crowd that's single in the black community. We already know what the percentage of black women being 26% married in their lifetime. I go throughout Central Market. I see beautiful black women, beautiful Hispanic women, beautiful white women, beautiful Asian women. I look at the ring finger. Most of the time, that black woman is single, beautiful, professional, and single. And I know they're going out later on that night. And my point is saying this: how you can't bridge the wealth gap without the family. And the black community are not focused. Our focus isn't family as of now. Matter of fact, all these shows we're seeing, a proliferation of all these podcasts and shows showing this schism, this chasm, I'll say, chasm.
Yeah, it definitely is a chasm.
This chasm between black women and black men, and it's not everywhere. It's not widespread. There's a lot of good black love out there, and I'm not.
It definitely is widespread, but it's not. It's not across the board.
For sure, and that to me is showing. We're ready for the video whenever you're ready, And so the thing is, I think that I just want, when it comes to what he said about the bridge gap and the family, I think we all got to realize that it's important for us to start pedestalizing the family.
I'll take it a step. I won't take it a step further. I'll take it a step back, actually, to those who may disagree with Vulcan in that sense. I think it would, at the very least, behoove us to consider that is at least part of the problem, right? If we want to blame it on the man, I'm not saying it's not the man. I'm saying we don't control the man, but what we do control is the proliferation, the depiction, the pushing, in layman's terms, of the black nuclear family based on numbers, right? He's giving you numbers. He's saying, listen, when you look at the black two-parent household, the dual income household, the African American nuclear family, the wage gap that we're talking about is significantly decreased. Those are statistics and metrics that you can look at that have nothing to do with the oppression of white government. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I'm saying we don't control that. Let's control what we can control. So as opposed to just saying, well, I mean, the man is against it, so what are we going to do? There's plenty of things that we can do. I'm a huge proponent of fix what you can fix what you can control, and don't worry about the rest. Not from a point that you don't acknowledge the rest, but worrying about it is something that you don't control. There's so many more things that you can put your energy into that are more productive towards a solution, as opposed to just sitting on your hands complaining
Facts.
about why you think you can't do it, as opposed to, you know what, I got a 100% problem. I only control 50% of it. Let me knock that 50% out, and then I'm good over here. So now I can focus. Now we can focus. I'm not saying we shouldn't focus. I'm saying fix what you can fix first. It's a much more efficient use of time and energy for the community.
How we look at the video up already or no? Yeah, just for the record.
What come out your mouth is what's going to come back to you.
Video's ready.
It's the law of attraction. All men are dogs. You finna meet all of them. I never get nobody. You're not. I can't lose this weight. You sure ain't. I'm going to get fit this year. Strong possibility. I'll never be rich. Promise you won't. I'm going to be rich one day. Strong possibility. It's how it works, man. It is the law of attraction. The moment you say it, you begin to change. It's the process. If you think big, you'll be big. If you think small, you'll be small.
Yeah. So, who wants to?
Yeah, go ahead, Vulcan. Enos, get in on this, man.
Enos, you want to get in on that, or you want me to go? You want me to go? Or?
Unmute yourself. Come from behind the curtain, wizard.
Yeah, I'm just listening to y'all fellas. I don't have nothing right now.
All right, cool. Well, so yeah, I'll say when it comes to this law of attraction thing, for me, it's one of those things where I want to approach it from two different perspectives. Freshly, there's the religious part of it, right? And then there's the people who are not religious that believe in the law of attraction part. They believe the law of attraction is almost kind of its own spirituality. So I'll deal with the non-Christian part first, or the non-religious part first, and just say it doesn't really make much sense to me when people say the law of attraction, because if you're not looking at it from like a Christian standpoint, I'll get to that one later. Are they thinking of some kind of karma? Because the thing is that, what law is this? The law of attraction.
I think it's closely related to, without the details that go into it, to you reap what you sow. You get in what you put out, in my opinion.
Well, I would be able to see that, but just when you hear people articulate law of attraction, we're talking about, like he said, you got to believe it, you got to say it. Reap what you sow. I cannot say anything and reap, right? I could be a mute. Technically, I could be a mute and reap, and sow and then reap, right? So,
well, I think there's a. Go ahead.
There's extra stuff add on the law of attraction. Just reap what you sow. To me, that's what it looks like.
Well, let me ask a question.
I think
it's a question. What's the danger? What's the danger in phrasing it? The law. I want to emphasize the law of attraction. What's the dangers in that?
Are you gonna go that way, or are you gonna go somewhere else with that? Freshly, okay.
No, I wasn't going there, but I'll answer the question just based, colloquially, and based on society. When we hear law, right, this is how our society is set up. When you hear law, you think of it as something that's irrefutable. You think of something that is that you have to abide by, or even more so, to Vulcan's point, something that if you do abide by it, it works the way they told you it would work.
Or I want to throw one. I want to throw in something that's being imposed upon you, like the law of gravity.
Correct.
I didn't wake up and go, I'm gonna subscribe to the law of gravity.
Right.
Law of gravity, is something that's being imposed upon me.
Yeah.
As a physical being. And so I would think that the way they articulate the law of attraction is something, how I've heard it articulated, is something that's being imposed upon you. If you do these things necessarily will happen.
Right.
So, and that
I think
is something that they believe is imposed upon you by the universe if you're not doing the Christian perspective side of it. Anybody want to comment on that part, or should I keep going?
I agree with you. If you believe in the quote unquote universe, right, and you just subscribe to a deity, and to be honest with you, I'm not 100% familiar with any of the major deities who subscribe to that or who would teach that or push that. I think it's a modernization thing. The law of attraction. I think it's what's the word? I think it's a bastardization of the reap what you sow, that concept. Maybe not the biblical concept, which is what I would subscribe to, but I think it's phrased like that on purpose to pander to people who don't really want to work.
I question that. I get the concept, but I want to focus on the words. Law of attraction versus you reap what you sow.
Go ahead, Enos.
That's the part that's the part that's troubling me. The law of attraction.
What's your take on that?
Fallacy, logical fallacy. That's what I'm thinking. Affirming the consequent.
Okay, expound on those concepts for the audience. Logical fallacy. You lead with that.
Or post it online, or post it up if you want to.
Yeah, no doubt.
I'm gonna take it to where I was going to. Okay, there we go. You're gonna have to zoom in on that.
Well, Vulcan, if you could, I'm gonna zoom in. You can read.
Okay, if you zoom in, I can read it, but my eyesight ain't what it used to be. So, audience, I want y'all to hear this right here. Affirming the consequent, the propositional component of a conditional proposition whose truth is conditional, or simply put, what comes after the then and an if-then statement. And so the antecedent, the propositional component of a conditional proposition whose truth is the condition for the truth of the consequent, or simply put, what comes after the if and an if-then statement.
Vulcan, you want to put that in layman's terms for the masses, or does anyone have a good example?
The positive outcome. Excuse me. The positive outcome could lead to. Thinking positive could lead to a positive outcome. That's probably one of the best I can do at the moment. So this might conclude. Do we need to put are we fine? Do we need to keep the definition up?
As long as we're talking about it.
Yeah, as long as we're talking about it, might as well keep it up.
Okay. So that's what I got so far. That's what I'm thinking. That was
So Enos, expound on that concept, because you just threw a term out there that makes sense. But how do you think that the concept that you just presented, how do you think it affects the statement, or how do you think it ties in with the statement?
So you want me to tackle this real quick?
No, I was asking Enos.
Oh, my fault. Go ahead.
Because he was saying that's what he was focused on. I want to hear his
no, that's
his
what I was thinking. That's what I was thinking. So just thinking positive. That's all I'm hearing. Thinking positive produces positive outcomes, right? So
that's clearly a logical fallacy.
That was the first thing I was thinking. Go ahead, Vulcan.
Hey, scroll back to the top, Enos.
Yeah, it's a very common when people say when people talk about just because something comes after doesn't mean that whatever preceded it was the cause. And that's exactly what this is talking about, affirming the consequent. So people think that, because I believed and this happened, or because I wrote this down,
then it must be true.
Then that means that caused that. And I forgot there's actually a phrase that people say, causation without, I can't remember the term for it, but there's actually a term that I never remember to say it. But basically, people just saying you can't assume that the effect, whatever that effect was,
is because of the preceding action.
The preceding action. You don't know that. You have to make that connection. You have to show how it's caused. So people think,
right.
Well, you got to understand. I was thinking about this yesterday, and I was thinking about that. Then, I'll give an example. I was thinking about getting me a Corolla, and I was talking to my friend about getting a Corolla, and I'm driving. I see Corollas everywhere. So me talking about it with my friend and believing upon a Corolla, now I'm seeing Corollas everywhere.
That's just how your mind works. You just focus on it. I'll give a more basic example. I close my eyes across the street and then get hit by a car. So that must be how you don't get hit by a car.
Yeah.
There's so many other factors that could factor into that, right? We're talking traffic patterns. We're talking about time of the day. We're talking about how wide the street is. Like, there's so many other factors and variables that go into that outcome. But based on the concept of, I think positive and I get positive outcomes, the next 5 times you walk across the street, any of those times you can get hit by a car.
Yeah.
So my question would be, when you get hit by a car, what does that mean? You were thinking negatively? Does that mean that spell has been broken? Like, oh, I must have been thinking negatively, and that's why I got hit by a car. It's such an easy concept. It's such an easy theory to disprove, because it's not consistent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I would ask the people, like Steve Harvey, who were saying, like, I think positive and positive things happen to me. All right, so when negative things happen to you, right? When life happens to you, does that mean that you were thinking negatively and it's your own fault, right? Are we taking that sort of accountability? And is it a proven science, right? If I never think negatively, do negative things never happen to me? Is that how that works? That theory works? I would challenge anybody who subscribes to the law of attraction to answer that question.
That's a good point you made, Fresh. That's a good point you made, as far as if you think negative, when negative things happen to you. So that's what my concern is with the term the law of attraction, because it lacks scientific evidence, right?
Mm-hmm.
So most of the people that subscribe to this belief system are basing it off of anecdotal experiences, not based on regular science experiments, and really diving into how they're able to come up with these theories.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody want to go after that?
For sure.
Let me say one thing, Vulcan, because I don't want to get off the original point you made to the biblical references to it. So if we examine the concept, right, it essentially says, if you think positive things will happen to you, or if you believe good things will happen to you, then good things will happen to you, right? Faith is.
Oh, we're getting into the biblical part now?
Well, because I know that we started with that, so I didn't know if you're gonna switch to the other facet of this before. So I wanted to get into the biblical part of it.
Well,
you can look at it. You said what?
I was gonna do the biblical part second. Right now, I was doing just the non-religious part first, and I was gonna get into the more religious side next.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, we could do that. Yeah.
We started with the biblical part. I'm gonna just put this out. Right. The Bible says faith without works is dead. And to that point, and I'm not gonna go too deep into this because I'm gonna give Vulcan a chance to talk. I think that's why I think the law of attraction, the way it's built, the way it's set up, is a bastardization of a concept that actually does work.
Yeah.
I can expound on that later on when we get into it.
So the last piece I was gonna say about this part was, when you're breaking it down, is it the belief? Is it the action? We all know these things are helpful in getting things done. When I train people, I tell them visualize it before you go do it, because that helps in a lot of ways. One, it makes you more focused. It helps you to start to think about things that are going to help you get where you're trying to go. It can instill confidence inside of you. It can help with anxiety. All those things. There's a lot of benefits, psychological, physical benefits to this kind of thing. So we're not saying this doesn't help, but it's not a law. It's not a law. These are just helpful guides. And so that's what I want to cover that part lastly, I'll say this part also, if it was about belief, then people that are in psych wards that believe they're Michael Jordan, they believe that they're Superman, they believe that they're, Nebuchadnezzar, they would actually become those things if true belief, if believing 100% equal the outcome.
Yeah.
But we all
I
know
think we made this point. We were talking on the phone about this a while back.
Yeah. Yeah. So belief doesn't equal any type of outcome. Doing it doesn't even equal. And when you study the law of attraction further, people who teach it more in depth, the law of attraction, they will say that people's belief outside of your own belief can influence your outcome.
100%. So if they believe harder than you do, then are you screwed?
Absolutely.
But that's the
right.
dangers.
So,
but that's what the dangers and this kind of thinking, because it can lead to victim blaming. So
Well, it does lead to victim blaming,
yeah,
but it really should. The way it works, if we're being 100% honest, the people who subscribe to it, the way that they will tell you it works, it shouldn't lead to anything but self accountability, because it's essentially, excuse me, it's essentially saying, like, as long as I believe hard enough and positively enough, good things will happen to me, right? Now, I will say, someone who subscribes to that will come in and they'll say things like, well, you have to put the work in, right? And this is the point that we're making. The way that it's presented does not present that first. When Steve Harvey was talking about it on that clip, he never said anything about the hard work that goes into creating that outcome or creating that environment that comes from thinking positively about it, right? To the point that Vulcan made earlier with the Corolla, or the example he used, if I believe that if I want a Corolla and I believe I can have a Corolla, right, I'm going to start seeing Corollas. Does this mean that a Corolla is going to show up in my driveway magically? Or does this mean that I still got to go to work? I still got to make the money. My credit still got to be together. And I still got to go to the car lot and purchase this car. And even after that, I still got to make my car payments until I pay it off.
Yeah. If we're talking inspiration and motivation, then a lot of that stuff is true. But when outside of that, if somebody already has the motivation and the inspiration, you don't need to subscribe to this law of attraction thing, because you can just go out there and do the work. So and
exactly. And that concept is you reap what you sow. You get out what you put in. If you put in the hard work, you put in the grind, you put in the hustle to get to a certain point, and then when you get to that point, you buy it. Yeah, whatever that object is. That's because of a hard work, not because of a positive mental attitude. That helps. To your point, that helps because it allows you mentally to really lock into those things. It allows you to sometimes hyper focus or get tunnel vision on something that you want badly enough, but it doesn't happen magically. There's no bridge in the law of attraction the way it's explained to people. If you think big, you'll be big. Well, what about the hard work that goes into creating something like that, right? Even Steve Harvey, who would call himself a self-made millionaire or a self-made star, like I think he's doing the community a disservice by neglecting, when he explains that concept, that theory, neglecting to talk about like how hard it is in between to get there.
Well, maybe he believes that. Maybe he believes that.
He can't. I won't say he can't, but how does he believe that with all the struggle that he went through to get there?
Well, hold on. I'm confused. Are you saying that he will believe that it takes hard work? Or you're saying he believes it doesn't take hard work?
You talking about Enos?
Yeah, I'm talking Enos.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying maybe he believes that his positive thinking is what brought him to where he's at now.
And it might be in some ways. Yeah. I mean, but it's not everything. It's a piece of it.
Well, his positive thinking will give him the confidence in himself, right? Like I could understand that, right? Hey, you can do this. This is something you can do. Okay, now I'm confident enough to try it, and maybe confident and sturdy enough to try it again after I fail, right?
The only reason I'm bringing that up because he's not the only celebrity that I hear actually promoting this. I guess this belief system.
Well, no, of course. A good majority of them will say that, but I'm only using Steve Harvey because we just saw him break it down. I mean, if you want to pull up some videos of other celebrities kind of pushing this belief, I'll comment on those. But I was basing my comment off of the fact that Steve Harvey explained the law of attraction and never gave you the meat of the theory.
Yeah.
Oh, you actually have to do something for this to work.
Yeah, before I get into, I'm about to go and get into the Christian part of it. But one last little piece I want to say about it is that one of the worst situations I've seen come out of the law of attraction teaching being so widely disseminated to everybody is that I've seen women praying for a husband. they think of their ideal man. They write it on a piece of paper. They write their list out, and then they believe that the law of attraction is going to bring it to them because they wrote it down and they believe with all their being.
And that's what I wanted to touch on.
6 foot, 6 pack, 6 figures, gangster, but a businessman, an entrepreneur, but also writes poetry, but also, is,
sensitive and understanding, a family man.
All of these things right here that can't coexist in the same human being. They'll write it down there and they believe that it's going to manifest because they wrote it down, and this law has to bring it back to them. And so going back to the prior video about, what bridges that wealth gap, if we have beliefs like this that are inhibiting people coming together, coupling up, because we're waiting on something better, the grass green on the other side, because I was told by Steve Harvey, this law has to bring this back to me because I'm believing with all my heart and all my being. This is another thing that's going to keep us separated as a community, keep us from getting the outcomes that we really desire.
100%. And I don't blame Steve Harvey or people like Steve Harvey, but I think he is doing the community a disservice by not giving you the bridge. You have to bridge that concept. It can't just be think positive things happen. That's not how it works. There's actual acts and work that comes in between there. Probably, if we're being 100% honest, a few failures that you learn from that better prepare you to that better prepare you to succeed later on in life. I will be willing to bet that there's a few times that Steve Harvey, with all the positive thinking in the world, did not get the positive outcomes that he desired in that moment, but he learned something from that was able to aid him when he finally did succeed.
So definitely, before we digress, I just want to highlight again how I want to touch on what Vulcan was saying as far as he's saying that no women to actually write a list down for their husband. I want to go back to the blaming the victim. That's the dangers of law of attraction, because if the person's circumstances ain't what they want them to be, they start blaming that it's because of their mental. It's because of the way they was thinking the whole time, why they're not where they want to be, or why they don't have the things they desire. That's the dangers that I think that we're not talking about it enough in this in our community. Yeah. And anyway, I want to touch on that.
Ma, I think you covered it really well.
All right.
I'm ready to go into the Christian.
Okay, let's digress. All right, you go ahead and
so I just want to say this. I don't know how much time we want to spend on this. I'm talking too fast. I don't know how much time we want to spend on this, but a lot of believers. I was talking to a lady today, and she brought up the law of attraction, and don't say that. Life and death are the power of the tongue, and you got to speak it into existence. And ask, and you shall receive. And all these different texts that are used to somewhat communicate the law of attraction. And I just want everybody to know, from a Christian standpoint, that is foreign to Christian teaching. You don't see anybody in the Bible talk about the law of attraction. Talk about you can speak things into existence. In the Bible, the only person that spoke things into existence was God. It's called ex nihilo, out of nothing. The only person that ever did that in the Bible was God.
Ex nihilo.
So all we can do is communicate things that have to line up with the will of God. That's why in the book of James, the biggest scripture that I like to use, the most fitting one that I like to use when people talk about the law of attraction being in the Bible, is the book of James, where it talks about, don't be like the arrogant businessman that says, tomorrow I will go do this, or I will go do this. Say, if the Lord wills, I will do this.
Yeah.
That's diametrically opposed to the law of attraction, because the law of attraction says, just go ahead and say it, and then the law has to bring it back. This text is saying that's arrogance to say that. to say you're going to go do this, you go do this. You don't have no idea. What did it say that the man purposes things in his heart, but God orders his steps.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can think what you want to. You can think you're going to go in one direction, and God may send you somewhere completely different. Paul.
Yeah, if it.
So last piece I'll say about that, and I'm gonna give up the mic, but I want to say that. So that scripture in James says that it's God's will that dictates what happened. Say if the Lord wills, do that.
Yeah. I mean, you could just look at Jonah being sent to Nineveh. He didn't want to do that. His will was like Vulcan said, diametrically opposed to that. But in Christianity, it doesn't matter. It didn't matter what he wanted. It didn't matter how positively he thought about it. It didn't matter how far away he got. Right. It didn't matter how. Hey, I got on this boat. Things about to go all right. He was happy. He got on the ship. He was heading the complete opposite direction. If it's outside the will of the Lord, and here's the thing: even when you're talking about, let's just say, to utilize that example, right? If I'm a man and I'm in the Christian faith, and I am asking the Lord for a godly woman, beautiful, professional, intelligent, all the things that a godly man would want in a wife. If I'm asking the Lord for that, even if it is the Lord's will, right? Let's just say He is going to give that to me, right? Two things: it's already in His will, and secondly, you still have to do things for that, right? You still have to operate the way the Lord is asking you to, right? You're not going to be able to just do whatever you want and operate in your life outside the will of the Lord, and then He bless you with the thing that you wanted. That's not how that works. Like, there's still works that have to go into the things that you request from the Lord, the things that you desire from the Lord. Like, you're not just going to be able to go about your life living how you want to outside of the will of the Lord, and then your blessing wife pop up without any consequences, without, because that's like, show me in the Bible where that happens.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Yeah. So I mean, that's the last little piece I'll say. Paul prayed for God to remove a thorn from his side. It never happened. So you can pray, you can believe, you can hope, you can ask God for things, and God will be like, "No, my grace is sufficient for you."
Jesus Himself asked that the cup be removed from Him, and He still died on that cross.
Yeah. So the whole thing is that it's one of those things. I'm not sure what that means.
No, I want you to. I was listening to you speak. You said God said X. I want you to.
Ex nihilo.
Oh, ex nihilo. Oh, ex.
Oh, okay.
Ex and then nihil.
That's fine. That's fine. Yeah.
Nihilo. LO, something like that. It just means out of nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Okay.
the thing is, and so the whole idea is that people think that we can speak things into existence because they say life and death is the power of the tongue, but that scripture is not talking about we have creative power in our tongue to create realities that don't exist. That text is more talking about that we can affect things. Like, obviously we know what the Bible talks about. Soft words turn away wrath, right? Soft words turn away wrath. Evil communications corrupt good morals.
Mm-hmm.
There's texts that tell us that our words do have an effect on the real world outside of ourselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sticks and stones, I break my bones, words may never hurt me. We know that's not true. Words can hurt people, right? But the thing is, so that text is still used, but it's not meant to be taken in a way that you can create realities with your words. That's only something that God can do. Nobody in the Bible do you ever see create realities with their words, and even bigger than that. We're never told in the text to do that. We're never told, hey, speak things into existence, create things. You want to be a doctor, you want to be this, you want to be that. Notice people use this law of attraction. It's always things that typically, are for their own gain. And usually at the time, like this cosmic buffet. But the reality is, when you look at the historic Christianity, a lot of Christians, they were dying. This could have been a physician who became a Christian during the first century, and his hope was that his practice would be to proliferate. And he was going to be, a big time doctor. And now he's, being in the Coliseum with lions being, lions eating them because his proclamation for Christianity as a Christian. So people in the Bible understood that their primary focus and goal was the spreading of the gospel. It wasn't whatever you want to do in your life. Not saying you can't pray for those things, not saying you can't hope those things come to be, but the reality is those are all secondary to that thing. And a lot of us have our focuses all off, and we're hoping that God's going to be a cosmic Santa.
Yeah, I just want to
Cosmic Santa.
Yeah, I just want to remind the audience and the viewers that we're not against positive thinking and being optimistic, but just keep in mind that the law of attraction sometimes can over exaggerate the positive thinking, over exaggerate some of the claims that that's made with this belief. So,
Yeah, I'm not against.
It's not supported with scientific evidence. Just always keep that in mind.
Yeah, we're not against the law of attraction conceptually. We just saying call it what it is: positive thinking and hard work.
Yeah,
I don't know why. Yeah, you don't need to coin the term.
All right.
So
that concept's always existed. Yeah.
So let's go ahead and segue to another. Any last thoughts before we move on, fellas? Any last thoughts?
We're ready to go.
Yes.
We got people asking about the YouTube. Are we on the YouTube or we're not on YouTube?
No, YouTube. We will be not live. We're not going to be able to be on YouTube live today, guys, but we will have the video uploaded before the night is over. I really want to wait on Fresh to come back in. Oh, he's back. Okay. All right, here we go. Vulcan, you mind putting your microphone on mute?
You can
Is
hear
that your background? Yeah, we can hear the cheering.
Oh,
babies.
Yeah. All right, here we go.
Hit that follow button. You about to learn something. I challenge you to do your research on these pagan holidays. Thanksgiving. It represents the day of mass genocide, the slaughtering of the Native Americans. Native Americans was killed. Oh yeah, it gets crazy. Christmas, supposed to be Jesus Christ's birthday. But in Luke chapter 1, it talks about how the angel Gabriel visited Jesus Christ's mother on the 6th month. And on the English calendar, the 6th month is June. Jesus Christ came out on December the 25th. That's not 9 months. And Jesus Christ was not born premature. So whose birthday is really this is? It's not Jesus. And then you got Easter, the day Jesus Christ supposed to rise. But really it represents Ishtar, a pagan goddess demon. Halloween, a satanic ritual. Child sacrifice. Dressing your kids up like demons. Spell bounding is happening. Spell casting is happening. Demonic altars are built. And you're putting the spell on your kids and your family when you're a Christian.
Hey, don't we have another clip that talks about that? He didn't do a good job.
Yeah. If you want to play
I know we have a couple more clips. He didn't do a good job.
We'll take a vote. Vulcan, you want to go to the next video?
And I'll say why he didn't do a good job. He corresponded
can we play
the group. Yeah, go ahead and play it again.
People are saying they can't find a Facebook Live either or the YouTube Live.
The Facebook Live goes to something else.
Yeah, whenever you're doing the Facebook, you gotta make sure to put it on our time because it's going in at your time for some reason.
No, I mean Easter time is gonna,
because it shows 10:20 start time on my end.
Oh, 10. 20
Oh,
Central Time.
Yeah.
yeah. When the link that they're going through on Facebook is taking them to what we uploaded 5 days ago.
Yeah.
It's not taking them to this.
This time and last time we did it, I'm sorry I should have mentioned it last time, but I noticed because it'll keep reminding us about the live time. It'll say reminder going live. It'll say 10 o'clock. It'll say 10:20, 10:15. So even though we're past, we're like at 9:20, 9:30, it's telling me it's still not. It's going to start at 50 minutes, 40 minutes, 30 minutes. So I think
Oh,
somehow
okay.
it's
That's
going.
interesting. I just looked it up. It says 10:20 Eastern Time. So
Yeah. Well, are you Eastern?
10:20 Eastern.
I'm
Yeah.
Eastern Time, so it still should be 9:20 y'all time Central PM. So
Okay,
it's
we'll
right on my end. Yeah,
figure it
it's
out. But yeah,
all right.
sorry. Go ahead. We're ready. I'm ready.
All right.
Think small, you'll be small.
Hit that follow button. You about to learn something. I challenge you to do your research on these pagan holidays. Thanksgiving. It represents the day of mass genocide, the slaughtering of the Native Americans. Native Americans was killed. Oh yeah, it gets crazy. Christmas, supposed to be Jesus Christ's birthday. But in Luke chapter 1, it talks about how the angel Gabriel visited Jesus Christ's mother on the 6th month. And on the English calendar, the 6th month is June. Jesus Christ came out on December the 25th. That's not 9 months. And Jesus Christ was not born premature. So whose birthday is really this is? It's not Jesus. And then you got Easter, the day Jesus Christ supposed to rise. But really it represents Ishtar, a pagan goddess demon. Halloween, a satanic ritual. Child sacrifice. Dressing your kids up like demons. Spell bounding is happening. Spell casting is happening. Demonic altars are built. And you're putting a spell on your kids and your family when you're a Christian.
Tradition.
You're on mute, Vulcan.
Do we want to continue next video? Is similar topic, or do y'all want to dive into this?
Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead, freshman.
No, I only asked for the next video because he left a lot of meat on the bone. He didn't really do a good job of connecting, because this is a platform where we utilize critical thinking. He just said a whole bunch of stuff. He didn't connect any dots. I will say that one thing at the beginning that he was inaccurate on. Well, he was accurate, but the 6th month on the Hebrew calendar is Ishtar. I want to say Ishtar correlates with February or March on the Gregorian calendar, not June. So his entire calculation would have been off if he's basing it on June. That's just that. I don't really want to go into how the rest of the stuff he was talking about didn't connect, but I know there has to be a more comprehensive we have a more comprehensive explanation of this phenomenon that we're talking about.
Yeah, so what I wanted to cover is that, like he says, do your research, and this is my concern when people have these beliefs about doing your research, whatever the topic is. What people say when they mean do your research is go look at the information yourself, go look at the facts. But what he's doing is he's formulating an argument. He has his premises and a conclusion there. You can go verify what he's saying as being true or not true. That's wholly separate and different from whether or not the conclusion that he draws from those facts is accurate.
Is correct.
And that's the distinction I need the audience to start recognizing. If you go research what he's saying and you find it to be true, it doesn't mean his conclusion is actually true. Let's say that 6 months does land in whatever day he said it was. Let's say that you look it up and this is the origin from all these different holidays. That does not mean that you're putting a spell on your child today by putting a costume on your child. You see what I'm saying? He still has yet to prove that part of it.
Yeah, you have to bridge you have to connect these points.
And people go, well, that's pagan origins. You realize you got to do your research. Okay, I can do my research and look up. I use soccer as an example. I can look up soccer. Used to be kicking people's heads around in the medieval days. I can look that up and see that. Now, if you're telling me I shouldn't do soccer now, you still got to bridge that to me. Because one was kicking people's heads around in the medieval days, and now I'm kicking a soccer ball into a goal.
It's not the same thing.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're gonna say it's the same thing, I need you to demonstrate the same thing. The conversation is not over just because you show me the origin of it, and there's
Right.
some similarity to what it is now. And so when he said the research part, I need to see that stuff unraveled by these guys. These guys don't do it. They just do anybody can quickly Google search that information. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's not being scholarly. That's not doing the work. That's not being a critical thinker. That's being a library, an encyclopedia. That's just somebody Googling some stuff and pulling up information.
Yeah. Get down that rabbit hole.
The rabbit hole of
Go.
thinking critically. Is this a good argument? Has he made a good argument for his stance that because of what happened at a certain time in history, that today I'm putting a spell on my child? You know, when he talks about the Jesus being born situation right there, you know, we celebrate his being born. You can celebrate somebody's birth anytime you want to. Somebody may get out of prison, you know, on March the 3rd. His birthday was the month before that. And so we celebrate his birthday on the 5th. You see what I'm saying? People, that happens in the military time. People in the military do this all the time when they're overseas. You celebrate. A birthday is not more significant or less significant based off when the actual birthday was. Some people don't even know when their birthday was. A lot of our slaves, a lot of our ancestors don't even know when their birthday was. It wasn't recorded. And so what happens, that means they can't celebrate it at all? Does it mean that the day they celebrate their birthday on is less significant than the day I celebrate my birthday on because I happen to know when I was born? No. The people need to demonstrate the connection there. Prove to us with reason, because you're not going to be able to fact check this. You got to prove to us with reason, with good argumentation, why just because we're not celebrating on the birthday, on his actual birth, it's less significant. That we have never heard from these guys. They just assert that because the timelines don't add up, therefore it's pagan, therefore we shouldn't do it. Anything of that freshly, anything?
No, I mean I think you stated it well.
All right,
Which is, I mean, yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Versus fact. So basically, tradition versus fact. So basically, things that are made up by man versus things that were made by God. And a lot of us are dealing with tradition, especially if you're a black man. I'm not mad at any white person, any person who celebrates any of the pagan holidays. I'm not mad at any black person who celebrates any of the pagan holidays. But once you learn that there are differences with Christmas and Easter and all of these holidays that we celebrate, Thanksgiving, that there are deeper meanings to a lot of these things, and it starts to separate families, because once you come into that truth, it's a completely different phase. You can't turn that light back off. And a lot of people are saying, don't ruin what I'm thinking, don't ruin my Thanksgiving, don't ruin my Christmas. We getting the presents. And that's the difference between fact and feeling. A lot of people are going off of their feelings nowadays and no facts. So what we have to do is we really have to learn how to use grace. Like the Most High God gives us grace, we have to give people grace and just give them time to learn if that's what they want to do. We're talking about.
So on this one right here, he's talking about how people say, don't ruin this for me, don't ruin that for me. And that's one of the big things about it. Romans 14 talks about some esteem one day is holy, some esteem all days to be the same. The reality is that it says, but to their master they stand or fall, so don't judge another person's servant. I think that's really important, because when people are saying, don't ruin this for me, you're not giving them good reason that they shouldn't celebrate this. If I'm celebrating Christmas, I'm celebrating the birth of Christ in my heart and in my mind, and I'm talking about the reason for the season. You can't try to transpose some type of meaning from thousands of years ago into my home in 2023. It's not going to work. So that's what these guys understand. People are not believing you because it doesn't make it, it's not adding up, even though your information may be correct for the most part. Now, there's some dispute on people information these guys are using, but last thing I want to say about this is people need to look up the genetic fallacy. The genetic fallacy. Boy, oh boy, oh boy, I hear this all the time. People tripping up on this particular fallacious form of argumentation. I don't know if you're able to pull that up, Enos, but y'all, the genetic fallacy, you will be surprised how many times people are just walking in error, thinking in error, proclaiming their beliefs in error because they do not understand how fallacies work, what a fallacy is. And so the genetic fallacy is a fallacy we're going to cover here. And the main part of the genetic fallacy I want you to focus on is the fact right here. When somebody's telling you that you shouldn't do something because of its origins, they are in violation of the genetic fallacy. So you want me to go do this one, or y'all gonna somebody want to do that?
Genetic fallacy, also known as the fallacy of origin or the fallacy of virtue. Description: basing the truth claim of an argument on the origin of its claims or premises. The logical form: the origin of the claim is presented, therefore the claim is true or false. Example 1. Lisa was brainwashed as a child into thinking that the people are generally good, therefore people are not generally good. The fact that Lisa may have been brainwashed as a child is irrelevant to the claim that people are generally good.
Yeah. So I want everybody to hear that right there, because that example saying is just because something doesn't have the most fluffiest, nicest origin doesn't mean that it's still not true. And this is important because people will try to beguile you and use that form of argumentation to get you to shift your beliefs. We hear this all the time: Christianity is the white man's religion. Now, we know Christianity is not the white man's religion, but even if it was the white man's religion, that says nothing about whether it's true or false.
Right.
Your disdain for the white man, or your appreciation of the white man, quote unquote, whatever you want to say, has nothing to do with whether or not something is true or not coming from that particular group of people. And so when you hear somebody say that, you got to understand that is a bad argument.
I also find odd with the fact that people selectively apply that argument or that theory throughout their lives when it benefits them, to the point where you don't hear people condemning NASCAR because the origin of racing cars was born in the Prohibition era, where they were souping up their cars to escape the police. Like, we don't look at things across the board like that. It's just things, and to again, it's utilizing I forgot what the concept is. It's basically stirring the black pot, for lack of a better word. It's looking into something that says, hey man, this is not for you, this is not for us, be on our side. It's really a separatist way of thinking. It's a separatist tool, to the point where there's so many things that we utilize today that started as something else. And to my question, right, I would ask a person who subscribes to this belief, are we just gonna stop everything? I would love to see someone go through everything that they do in life, which they should. If they truly believe that concept is true, they should go through every concept, every belief, every structural belief that they have in life, and look at the origin and decide based on where the origin came from, whether or not it's morally in line with what they believe. Because it's only morals, right? It's only a feeling, like, oh, I feel, because it's not based on anything scientific. Because here's the beauty of it: if it was based on reality and scientific origins, it wouldn't be a problem, because that thing has changed, right? Whatever it was before has fundamentally changed at this point. Even the belief system. Even if at one point in time December 25th was used to celebrate Saturnalia, is that what you and your family are doing on December 25th? No, you celebrate something else.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, people have to understand, you have to examine it based off its current context and meaning. People don't do that. They go, oh, it's the origin is bad, so what you're really doing is this. No, what I'm really doing is what I did. You're trying to say that I did something I didn't do. You're trying to say that I'm celebrating.
Correct.
but you have no proof in the physical world based off what I actually was doing on that day that I was celebrating Saturnalia. So what you're doing is taking what happened a long time ago, and you're saying you don't know it, but you were doing this. That's like saying I'm making toast to make me a sandwich, and you'd be like, well, James, you don't realize you weren't making toast, you were actually fixing your carburetor. What? You mean to tell me that what I'm actually doing in real life is not what I'm actually doing, but I'm really doing this? That's silly.
Here's the thing. You should also address. Let's just say there is some grand conspiracy that's attached to December 25th, right? You would still have to address people who are actually still celebrating Saturnalia, right? You have to talk to those people. The families with a Christmas tree who are giving gifts and singing praises to the Lord. The best I can offer, right? The most I can offer is, okay, you're probably right that December 25th is not Jesus' birthday. Maybe, right? That's the best I can offer. So if you're just saying that's wrong, all right. But for you to apply anything more sinister, for you to imply anything more sinister than that, when again we're looking at what we're doing, like Vulcan was saying, like what we're actually doing is what we're actually doing. I'm not celebrating Saturnalia because they shared the same date at one point in time.
Yeah, and what's crazy about it is most folks don't even know what Saturnalia is. So when somebody comes and says, you know what you're really doing, right? It really sounds crazy. Like, you mean to tell me I was doing something I had no idea what I was actually doing? Like, was I on some kind of trance? Was I in some kind of hypnosis or something like that? Like, how was I celebrating Saturnalia? And if you would actually get people that were celebrating Saturnalia and put them side by side with what I was doing, they wouldn't even look alike.
Yeah, it's literally completely different. Like, I'm definitely not doing that.
Even though I had no idea it even existed.
Yeah. And the theory is that he changed the date, right? When Julius, he said, listen, based on when they said, right, the Hebrew calendar puts, I said Ishtar earlier, but I meant, I didn't mean, I said it wrong. I said the wrong day, the wrong name, but Adar, which corresponds on the Gregorian calendar with February and March. So based on that understanding, they're saying that Julius said, okay, so 9 months from February or March is December. Like that's neither here nor there, right? I'm just saying that's the calculation that was used to put the birthday in December based on his calendar. So the best, like, again, if you really dissect it and you really examine it, you're looking at someone who's saying, well, we're not Hebrews. We don't utilize the Hebrew calendar. We utilize the Gregorian calendar. This is how our months are broken out.
Yeah.
What's the nearest approximation for us? Oh, well, they're saying he was born in Adar, right, which is February, March. If I calculate based on our calendar, then that's December for us. Cool. Right? That's simple math of that. It doesn't need to go any deeper than that. There's not even a conspiracy that's saying, like, when you celebrate Christmas, you're actually like celebrating Saturnalia. It's like what? Yeah. It's just like,
well, one of the guys said Thanksgiving was a celebration of killing the Indians. That's not what Thanksgiving is a celebration of.
It's definitely not.
I'm almost 40 years old, and I never heard anybody say, just y'all know what this is really about. It's killing Americans.
He's talking about what actually happened on that day, and that may be true, but that's not what Thanksgiving is celebrated.
It happened that day. Do we know?
Yeah, so I said that may be true. Even if it's not, it may be true.
They ate with a full bellies. They're like, is that really what happened? I mean, like, was it that day, was that month, that week, that year?
Of course they didn't do that, Vulcan. Nobody had automatic weapons back then. You're ridiculous.
So you're absolutely right. So the thing is that people got to recognize that these people are trying to give us their definition of what these things mean. That's fine. I'm not here to judge them. If that's what it means to you, that's what it means to you.
They're inciting it, though. For them to go on the internet, in my opinion, for them to go on the internet and say that and be like, watch out, black people. Like, it's so weird. Like, that's inciting, especially because, in my opinion, the majority of them are saying something that they heard somebody else say. Like the first video we watched, I'd be willing to bet he didn't do any of his own research. I think he's a parrot. I think he's saying something someone told him that he trusts, someone that he respects. Someone told it to him. It sounded good, and he was like, "I'm gonna go on the internet and tell the folks."
Yeah, and this is my thing. This is my thing about it. If you're gonna do your own research, y'all, do your research on how to reason properly, logic, critical thinking. If you're a believer, Romans 12 commands you to be reasonable. And so y'all don't focus so much on the information. That's helpful. But that data still has to be connected. You connect it with reasonable forms of argumentation, creating propositions, syllogisms. There's ways you connect this information, premises to your conclusion. There's a process that you're doing there. And in that process, when you connect these dots, that part right there is what most of us have never really researched. The laws of logic, the laws of logic. Sorry, go ahead, Freshly.
No, I was gonna let you finish because a lot of times I'm just gonna give a layman's terms version of what you're saying. So essentially, and I'm not easy explaining. I'm just for those of you who are anywho's. Essentially, what he's saying is you can go on the internet and find anything that you want that supports your own claim. If you type in something a certain way, you can find an article on the internet that says what you wanted to say. What Vulcan is saying is once you find that information, go find something opposite and then do your research on that. Use your critical thinking to determine what you believe based on a full gambit of information. Because you can get anything on the internet. You're really using logic when you get the opposite of what you think and then determine based on all of the information, having a full plate of information, what jives and what doesn't. It's not like, because if I want to go on the internet and find something that says Trump is a racist, I could do that. If I want to go on the internet and find something that says Trump is not a racist, I could do that. Neither one of those are the guaranteed answer. You need to do a deeper amount of research, a greater amount of research in depth. And then, like Vulcan is saying, utilize logic and reasoning to come to an outcome that works for you.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. We want to emphasize and highlight the laws of logic. I'm going to get Vulcan to go ahead and read the laws.
Vulcan, hey man, you got to make this screen bigger, G.
Yeah, we ain't as young as we used to be, man.
Vulcan, you on your phone?
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
I think that might be the problem because Enos is on his laptop, so this is bigger on his screen.
Oh, okay.
Well, no, I'm on my iPad, so I can see it on my iPad. But the thing is, I'm trying to, because people keep requesting the live. And,
Enos already said it's not gonna happen, bro.
No, that's he said for YouTube though.
Yeah, I understand the Facebook. I did it at the right time, so I'm not sure.
Is it live? Hold on, real quick.
So I'm just sending a live. I'm sending them at least the Facebook live.
It's still not live. I got somebody checking up on it. Check up on it.
Yeah.
They're waiting with bated breath for what the kids got to say.
Yeah. So the laws of logic. You want me to read this?
Yeah, you said the study laws. Yeah, just the three fundamentals.
Yeah, so the three fundamentals of logic and all the other fallacies and laws you're going to hear come out, these are all based off of these three fundamental ones. Someone add a fourth one to it, the transitive property, but this one just has this three right here. So the law of identity, P is P. The law of non-contradiction or the law of contradiction, P is not non-P. And then the law of the excluded middle, either P or not P. We use this stuff every day. This stuff may sound foreign to a lot of us, but this stuff used every day. The law of identity is if somebody says this is something, you're like, that's not what it is. You're saying that they're identifying it incorrectly. We do this every single day. We use it every single day. Hey, that's my day off. That's not your day off. Hey, you're on my car. We're using the law of identity. The law of non-contradiction. Anytime you call somebody a liar or correct somebody, you're saying what they're saying does not correspond to actual reality. That's what you're saying. So yeah, wow. The link that we have is still not is people are saying the link that I sent is still not even taken.
Yeah, it says the link is broken.
The link to the live that we have right now for Facebook.
Yeah, no one's watching this live right now. Just so y'all know,
they can't watch it. Apparently, they can't get in.
No, that's what I was saying. Even from the beginning, I said that.
Well, you said for YouTube though.
Yeah, but a lot of them are getting to YouTube through the Facebook link, and they can't do that.
Yeah, but I'm saying even the Facebook one they can't even get into, and we're on Facebook Live right now.
Oh, word.
Yeah, so they can't even use the Facebook one. And we're on Facebook Live. That's what's crazy about it. But yeah, so in the law of excluded middle, either P or not P. It's like somebody says, we do this all the time. Hey, did you do this or not? I just need to know if you did this or not. Did you do it? Well, what do you mean well? It's either you did it or you didn't do it. That's
And
called the law
that's
of
the
excluded
truth.
middle. That's
That's
called
the
the
truth.
law of
Either
excluded
it is
middle.
or it ain't.
Yeah, either it is or it ain't. It's a law of excluded middle. These principles right here are the fundamental building blocks of logic and reason. And so whenever you are using these throughout the day, you're invoking logic. The thing is, understanding the fallacies just take it to the next level. It's going, okay, based off these right here, now I can figure out how somebody is telling the truth. They're lying to me when they're trying to deceive me. So that's what the laws of logic are. So when it comes to doing your own research, look up the fundamentals of how to think properly. They used to teach this stuff in school in the medieval times, logic.
And reasoning.
We don't do that so much now. We teach you more how to think. Sorry, we teach you more of what to think than how to think. And that's one of the primary focus of this show is that we're not here to just give you a barge with a bunch of information. You listen to a lot of these people online, Dr. Umars, the Tariq Nasheeds, the Ruben, report guy, all these people, you hear people different communicate different things online. They're giving you information. Did you know this? Did you know that? Did you know this? Did you know that? That's all well and good. These people are a wealth of information. But who are you listening to that's teaching you how to decide, how you discern right from wrong? How do you figure it out?
So yeah,
That's one of the things that we never study.
Perfect segue. Y'all want to get back to
next video?
Video.
Hey, real quick. So the link on Facebook is working, but it's not. I don't think it's a broken link. I think it's the wrong link. I just went through to my post. The link that's up on Facebook takes me to YouTube, but it ain't this.
Well, it takes you. So what about the one that takes you to Facebook?
I'm on Facebook. I'm on Facebook. I reposted the post that you posted.
Yeah,
if I.
So if you want, I'm gonna say if you want this. Oh yeah, I'm seeing right here. Well, the Facebook. Well, no, you reposted the one you would post to this as a YouTube link, not a Facebook link.
Well, I just reposted what you posted a couple hours ago.
Yeah, but that's to get to YouTube Live. How do we get to?
That's true. But I don't see. I don't think. Well, we have to be on Facebook Live somewhere. Is it just not being cast, or what's happening?
I'm gonna send it to y'all, and then you can tell me if it works for y'all. Because I'm actually clicking on Pagan Holidays and Dr. Umar Rants. So now I'm gonna send it to y'all in the group and see if you get it. A brief intermission to really try to figure this part out. I just sent it to both of y'all.
Yeah, this happened before though. This is not the first time this happened.
So I just sent it to both of y'all. See if
we
you
gotta
can get
figure it out though.
See if you can get it. I'm about to go blow my nose real quick. Hold on.
Cause it's low key. Even my comments are bubbling. What you mean, Enos, about the text messages? We can cut this part out. So this is why you got to read our text. What you mean by that?
Oh yeah, I sent 3 videos because I said these 3 videos are similar as far as dealing with the pagan holiday, and I actually choose one of these 3. So that's why I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you didn't choose anything. So while I'm playing it, you're like, yeah, this is not really a good one. I'm like, we could have had this done before we went live.
Oh yeah. I didn't realize that's what you. I thought that was a list of what we were going to go over.
No, I said he sent the list.
I misunderstood.
Go over, but 3 of the videos was talking about the same topic, and I said in the group text, I said 3 of these videos. It could have been mine. Yeah, I said these are on the same topic. Choose between these 3. Yeah, I probably could have worded that a lot better, but yeah.
Okay, hold on real quick.
So I'll say this.
Do any of those links work for y'all?
No.
Did it work? What does it pull up whenever you click on it?
Just whatever I was watching previously on Facebook. Nothing comes. It goes straight to my page.
It'll go straight to your YouTube page? I mean, your Facebook page?
No. Yeah, just go to the page, like the feed, whatever's on the feed.
Wow, that's crazy.
We gotta get to the point where we gotta start posting this on the Vulcan Soapbox fan page too, y'all. So I'm gonna have to send that to y'all. So this happened before. This is not the first time this is happening. Early on, I guess the first 2 episodes, the link wasn't working on my end. I mean, when you sent the link to me.
Yeah, I think the main thing is, we just gotta, man, it sucks. We posted it up there, nobody even put it. But yeah, it's cool. Do we, I don't even know if we need to be live at this point, but we're not live. What happened with the YouTube? Why we're not live on YouTube?
YouTube, I changed the email earlier today. So right before we went live, you have to bring fresh back in.
Hey,
authorized going live on YouTube. I didn't have a chance to do that. I didn't realize that until the time we went live. So
we already decided. We already found out that the link ain't working. It took me to something else.
Mm-hmm.
The link is not broken, but the link that Vulcan sent me, it took me to 3 white women trying on booty shorts.
It sent me to a gas station shooting. So the YouTube live will be up and running. It's just that the Vulcan Soapbox, I had to change the email because the YouTube link, the Vulcan Soapbox channel, was linked to my email. So once you change the email to our email, I had to do some more authorizations, and I didn't realize until it was time for us to go live. So,
oh man,
yeah.
We should have went live then.
I didn't realize that. Yeah, as soon as I put live, it says you have to confirm. You always have to confirm before you go live, and I can confirm James' Facebook because he gave me the password, but the password is not the same for my email versus our email. So my apologies on that. Yeah,
I'm ready.
All right.
We already did. Well, we did some work on this. Go ahead.
Yeah, so this is the last video. We just finished out and whatever I didn't say or.
Oh, we only got one more left.
Yeah, this is the last one, Umar.
All right.
All right, y'all ready?
I thought there was more than one Umar one, but okay.
Well, 2. I put them both together. So. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You ready? And I realized what it is with my Wi-Fi. They did advise me just pick the Wi-Fi off the ground. I had on the lower step, so maybe that helped. I don't know. All right, so y'all ready?
Yep.
All right.
That's white supremacy. That's white supremacy.
What's white culture?
That got to be an ad-lib right there, man.
I don't see DJ Khaled building no schools and hospitals. I don't see DJ Vlad building no damn banks and supermarkets.
Yo, I'm asking you.
Hell no.
Let me ask you a question.
Ain't no at the top.
Let me ask you this.
That's white supremacy.
We could just let
that he hired to come in here and clean this motherfucking apartment. Joe might not know who the fuck cleans this
Something
apartment.
just hit me. Shoot. Are you mixed race?
No.
Or you a bunny hopper?
Yes.
That's why you have a liberal perspective.
That's not true. That's not
because you go home to a white woman.
Yes, but that's not true. I felt this way before I met my white girlfriend.
So help me understand how you could be so passionate about the black law.
I'm passionate. I'm an objective thinker. I don't. If something makes sense,
so you have no loyalty to the black community.
No, I do have. I probably employ more blacks than you.
The video's on a minute. You ready to you ready to pause?
So this right here is like, again, we heard it just now, audience. He just said because you have a white woman at home.
Yes, get out of my head, bro. I was like, bro.
Yeah, go ahead, Freshly. Go ahead, take that.
No, I was just saying, like, it's not. Essentially, he's saying because he dates a white woman that he doesn't support. He has no loyalty to the black community, or that because he dates a white woman, that's why he has a liberal mindset. But that infers that a black man who's dated black women all their lives can't have a liberal mindset, or vice versa.
Well,
like a black man who's dated a Caucasian woman can't have a conservative mindset. Like we've talked about Umar a lot in his tactics. This is pretty egregious because it's not based in anything but the desire to incite pro-black mentalities. I
false.
love black as well, but it doesn't matter that I love black people and I am black, because what he's saying is not true.
Yeah, it's a false black love.
Yes, it's
a black love bereft of any type of reason and sound judgment in it.
It's a blind black love. And to be honest with you, like I wasn't prepared to liken him to a cult leader before, but the more I'm not now, so don't get it twisted, but the more I hear him say things like this, where it's just like, you dated a white woman, so you got a liberal mindset. It's just like, bro, like I'm moving closer and closer to that, because like we said earlier, he's not even bridging that gap with anything. He's just saying it. And he's saying it with such authority and conviction, because he wants you to think it's true. He's saying it with such finality, like it's like that is the case. I'm like, come on, man, do better.
If you watch the video that sent about his school, you'll definitely move towards him being a cult leader for sure. But
you want to play it?
Yeah, play it.
Was I gonna say anything else about the video real quick? So yeah, I want to say this also. I want to say this last little piece when we play the video. You get the video ready,
Yeah.
But the thing is that, so one thing I want to say about what he's talking to this guy, he's saying, because you're a white woman at home, that's why you're having this particular perspective. It may be true that my bias towards or against what you're saying may make me speak to it. I got white women at home. You could think I'm a coon for doing it, and I may not care to explain anything to you. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
But if you ask me on television, you got a white woman at home, I may now want to speak to it. So it's true that me having a white woman at home make me want to talk about it, but my actual belief or perspective, you can't disqualify that just because of I have a white woman at home. You don't know if it's related or not. You don't know if it's related or not.
And again, yeah, exactly. You don't know if those two things have anything to do with each other, especially because he asked if he bunny hopped, which entails that, I mean, to me, that infers that you go back and forth. So, but even so, I'm like, listen, if I ever dated a black woman, was I good then?
Something just came.
Is it? Go ahead.
No, that's what he said. He said that. He's like, something just came to me.
Well, yeah, because I have to go back and watch the rest of the video, but I feel like he was losing. He's getting back into a corner. That was like a get out of jail free card.
Cool video.
But he's a bunny hopper. He don't support the black. He light skinned, so he must be mixed race. He don't support the black community. Like, bro, that's crazy to me.
What's going on with the school video?
Yeah, and I know it's at the beginning of this video. Okay, yeah, go ahead. Yeah, let's get through this one. Hey, is it a switch that you can turn on and off?
I'm sorry.
I'm gonna ask that. While we listen to this, I'm gonna ask that question more for the audience. Is loyalty to the black community a switch you can turn on and off? Like, am I not loyal if I date a white woman, and then as soon as I get back with a black woman, or if I dated a black woman before, then I was loyal? Like, how does that work?
I did want to focus on words. I don't know if it said you're not loyal. I have heard him in other
interviews. Said that. He said you have no loyalty to the black community.
Okay, let me play it so I'll give you a better answer. Hold on.
In here, clean this motherfucking apartment. Joe might not know who the fuck cleans this apartment.
Something just hit me.
Something just hit me.
Are you mixed race?
No.
Or you a bunny hopper?
Yes.
That's why you have a liberal perspective. That's not true. That's not because you go home to a white woman.
Yes, but that's not true. I felt this way before I met my white girlfriend.
So help me understand how you could be so passionate about the black.
I'm passionate. I'm an objective thinker. I don't. If something makes sense.
So you have no loyalty to the black community.
No, I do have. I probably employ more blacks than you.
Okay, so help me understand that you employ more blacks than me, but you go home to a white woman. Why you don't have a black woman?
Because I fell in love with a white woman, not a black.
Why didn't you fall in love with a black woman?
I did. I fell in love with a black woman. We broke up.
Okay, and why didn't you fall in love with another black woman?
I did that too. We broke up.
Okay. And why didn't you get another one and another one and another one until you found the right one?
Because I met a white woman that I fell in love with, and that's the person.
And you're being disingenuous about something. Not true. And let me tell you what you're being disingenuous about.
True.
Romance is a function of focus and opportunity. If I want to date an Asian, I'm going to put myself around Asian women so I can find one. If I want to date a Latino, I'm going to put myself around Latino women so I can date one. If you wanted to
that's tragic, bro.
Yeah, I think the main thing with this video, while you're pulling up the school ones, we can see that one, is just when you're looking at Dr. Umar.
I did that on purpose.
Huh?
You better bring it, Vulcan. Come on, man.
Are you pulling it
Get
up?
him.
Come on, man.
He's saying he wants you to get on Umar on this video, bro.
Sorry, I'm confused.
I'm just joking. I'm gonna edit this all out. I'm just joking. Just go ahead and finish.
I didn't know what you were joking about. I missed that. Whatever it was, I missed.
No, I did a solo layout because I wanted you to go ahead and 30 him. But
no, yeah, I was
cook that man.
I was gonna talk until you pulled until you had the video ready.
Now we're just gonna talk about this video that just played. Anything else, or we can go to the next video?
Oh, because earlier I said, go and play the school video. I thought we had to play the school video.
If fresh to go on, we can go on to the next video. It's up to you.
I misunderstood.
Yeah, I'm ready to go. I pretty much said everything that I said. I mean, I said we saw what he was talking about. He said a bunch of other things, matter of factly and definitively, that have no real basis in reality. It's just what he said.
Yeah,
he presented it that way.
Yeah, so finishing off this video right here, I'll say that obviously the guy turned it into an attack. So you can have this who supports the black community more type of thing. We still haven't heard Dr. Umar give a real reason that's concrete of why people can't date outside of their ethnicity and or race, if you believe that we're not all one race. The thing that he gave right here is that, saying that, it's about focus. And I think opportunity said focus and opportunity. I can't remember the two things he said. But the thing is that, a lot of us traffic in areas where it's very diverse. I don't have to go too much out of my way to meet an Asian, a white, Hispanic, a black woman because they're all around, especially if you live in a metropolitan area. So the thing is that, even that right there, again, he's trying to impose this idea that means you intentionally sought that white woman out. And there's nothing wrong if you did it, so what? But but the thing is, you're trying to find a way to make yourself right by assuming certain things, a certain type of setting, to validate your bias against interracial relationships. So again, I think that's one of the things we got to look at when it comes to Dr. Umar Johnson. He has never give us a concrete reason why you can't do it. Every point that he's made about it can be easily disproven or shown to not be absolute. So that's the thing about him. He's running out of things. So what he does, he resorts to ad hominem attacks. Ad hominem. He attacked the person rather than an argument. He's genetic fallacy, saying you're doing it because you have a white woman at home. Hasty generalizations. Audience, I want you to hear. I'm naming the different fallacies he did. Hasty generalization. Genetic fallacy. Ad hominem. These are all different things he did. You can Google this stuff, look this stuff up on your phone, what these terms mean. This when you're at work, when you're at church, when you're watching videos on YouTube, these are the different things people do to be able to win arguments in a dishonest way. Those of us who pride ourselves into being good, moral people that are reasonable, this is not acceptable behavior. And so we have to call these people out. He's a brilliant mind. He's very knowledgeable, but that does not give him the basis. That does not excuse poor behavior. And him, like many people who are intelligent, need to understand that that's poor behavior.
All right. So before we move to the next video, Fresh, you mind reading the ad hominem?
Ad hominem, abusive, argumentum ad hominem, also known as personal abuse, personal attacks, abusive fallacy, appeal to the person, damning the source, name calling, refutation by caricature against the person, against the man. Description is attacking the man, making the argument rather than the argument itself, when the attack is completely irrelevant to the argument the person is making. I.e., if I'm having a argument with someone about whether the sky is blue or not, and you look down at my shoes and say, bruh, I know you ain't talking with them dusty shoes on. That has nothing to do with the argument, but it's something that you bring up to distract.
Right.
Yeah. And I want to highlight to bring forth like what Umar was doing when he called the guy the bunny hopper. That's a negative term for somebody that's pro-black. And the guy, if you notice what the guy said, he said, "I'm an objective thinker." Umar didn't address that. Dr. Umar didn't address that. So keep that in mind. And that's all I have to say about that. Y'all want to say anything about before we move on?
That's it. Now we'll go to this video right here. It's talking about, freshly about the point about him not being all the way convinced that Dr. Umar propped himself up as some type of a messianic figure. So this right here is going to be a little bit more information pertaining to that topic.
All right, we closed out with this video. Vulcan, just remember to mute your microphone. All right.
I got one more. Eshu Elegbara. Now, Obatala is the oldest. Orumila is the only one to witness creation. Ogun is all power. Oshun is abundance and happiness. Yemoja is the life. Shango is the leadership. Olokun is the unconscious. So what is Eshu? In the Bible, you have an angel named as Gabriel. And in the Quran, you have an angel named as Gabriel. They are what? The communication spirit. God spoke to Gabriel. Gabriel spoke to Jesus, Noah. You see that? That's Eshu. Eshu is the communication. You know why he's at the door? Because you don't talk to no spirit without his permission. If I want to give an offering to Ogun, I better give him something. If I want to give an offering to Oshun, I better give Eshu, because he's the toll master. You don't talk to heaven unless you talk to me. You see that? He's the messenger. When you pray to your ancestors and you ask your ancestors to help you, he has to take the prayer. When you pour that honey in the river and ask Oshun to lighten your spirit, he got to take the energy of that honey to Oshun. Nothing gets to nobody without him. He's the door. He controls all roads in your life, spiritual and metaphorical. Let's say you're looking for a new job. I can't get a new job. Your roads are blocked. He's blocking them. He needs something from you to open them roads. Or maybe one of them needs something from you that you need to give to him so he can take it to them, maybe your ancestors, and open up your opportunity. Let's say you got to drive all the way to Maryland, and it's a roadblock. They keep roadblock. They fixing the street. The police stop. He's blocking you for some reason. He controls all roads. He's also the father of risk and chance. Gamblers, people who gamble, they got to stay close to him because he helps decide if it goes this way or this way. He's the father of choices. In African culture, we take our time before we make major decisions, because if you decide to move here, there's a whole set of options. If you decide to move to LA, there's a whole set of options. If you decide to marry that man, there's a whole set of options. If you marry that man, a whole set of options. So choices equal opportunities. So Eshu say, take your time and make your mind up. Last thing about Eshu, he is the divine policeman. He is the dispenser of karma. Do you feel me? You just hit the lottery. You won $1 million. You got 3 daughters. They all in their 20s. They're not doing well economically. You should have took that $1 million and set them 3 up with a business. But guess what you did? You bought a $500,000 car and a $500,000 house. Eshu don't like that shit. So guess what? Soon when he drive off the lot, he get into a car accident. You get the insurance money. You say, I'm gonna go get me another Lamborghini. You get into another accident. Why do I keep crashing my new car? Because Eshu trying to get your attention. That money wasn't for that. You're supposed to take care of your family. That's how he plays. When things are not going right in your life, is it him trying to get your attention? Working on behalf of Almighty God, because all of them work for the Most High. We don't worship them. We worship God, but we praise them so they can work with us. And then the last one is the ancestors. They represented by white. Before you deal with any Orisha, you must be right with your ancestors, because you come from God through who? Your ancestors. So what you look like calling on Oshun, and you ain't called on great-grandma, great-grandpa, your great-auntie. You must deal with your ancestors first before you did. So when you get your initiation, you get initiated into the ancestors first. You don't go to them. You got to get right, because guess what? If your ancestors ain't on your side, ain't but so much they're going to do. Family first. And I'm going to give you one more. That's it. There's one spirit that is not represented on the wall.
Hey, pause it real quick. I got a question.
You. Remember I said Obatala created the body? When Obatala created the body, your spirit in heaven, your higher self, because you exist on earth and there, you're twice. In fact, that's your real self. This is just a hologram. Right. Your higher self went to God and you asked.
Hey, when he says the Most High, is he talking about God, Jesus Christ? Is he referring to, because these are tenets of Pan-Africanism, correct? That he's preaching right now?
No, Pan-Africanism is not really a religion. So what he's talking about now is African spirituality.
Okay, so when he's talking about the Most High, is he, you on mute, is he referring to
it's more like
a Christian God?
No, Pan-African is more like a political.
I gather that.
Okay, yeah.
I was just asking who is he referring to when he's talking about the Most High? Allah?
Well,
when he says the ancestors work for the Most High, they all work for him. Who is he referring to?
He's referring to whoever he believes created all that stuff. Well, I guess he's saying that some of these lesser beings created it too. So I guess.
Well, yeah, because okay. I just had that question because I didn't know who he was referring to when he said that. Go ahead.
God to let you reincarnate so you could fulfill or achieve a purpose, a destiny, right? So you had a choice of destinies. You chose the one you got here. So you lift that head up. It gets put on your head. God breathed life into you. You come through your mother. You see, that head that you picked up is an Orisha. It is a spirit. You have one of them in you, and it is you. And it's three parts. Your higher self, Ori Ipanri, your inner self, Ori Anu, and the self that we know, your Ori, your mind, your personality, your likes, your dislikes, your weaknesses, your regular ego mind, right? But you got a higher one and you got the inner one. And the whole purpose of life is to find the destiny that your head chose in heaven before God and fulfill it. And the only way you do this is by putting your higher self and your inner self in alignment with your human self. Once all three of them are in alignment, you can now fulfill your destiny. That's Ifa. And so in the school, we're going to teach that as a class. Every child got to know them. They don't have to practice the religion. So if a parent say, well, Doc, I'm Christian. I don't really want my child practicing. No problem. They must learn it. They won't know it, but they never have to practice it. Okay?
Gotta know it though.
Gotcha. So I need a sound system in here because we don't have one. As you can see, we got a pre-existing speaker there. I don't know what they connect to. We have Orisha, divinities created by God to help us fulfill our destiny on this earth. So the first color you see is all white. The reason why white is larger than any of the other colors because the ancestors are represented by white. This is not white skin like the pale man. This is the white light of consciousness that gave birth to all creation. Do you feel me? We're dealing with energy, not color, right? White is also represented by Obatala. Obatala is the spirit God sent to earth to create man from the mud and the clay. So when you read in the Bible and the Quran, God created man from the clay. It was the spirit that did that at the order of God named Obatala.
Yeah, so what's your thoughts on that, Freshly? Enos?
Enos ain't on right now. I'll be honest with you, man. I didn't see him setting himself up as a messianic figure, but he definitely is pushing a religion. He definitely contradicts himself often. I think he really says whatever he wants to at the time that he thinks it'll work best. it's I suppose we can still consider him to be you know, an intellect or intelligent or, you know, a great orator. But there was a point in time where I was like, man, I rock with what Omar is pushing, is preaching, but I don't rock with his tactics, and I'm less and less rocking with what he's talking about, because one, it's all over the place. He just got on this man and accused this man and ridiculed this man on Joe Budden's podcast for being a bunny hopper. He also initially asked him if he was a mixed race, and because he was going to attack that about him. But in a previous interview, in another interview, he said, "Listen, if you mixed race, we accept you. We love you. But you don't do that to somebody you love, do you? Especially not in public. You don't ridicule them in public, especially for the very thing that you said you accept them about." Like it's hard for me to even focus on the concept he's talking about, because I'm like, bro, what do you actually believe? Like, what are you trying to push? What are you trying to say? You don't have to practice, but you will learn. Okay. I don't really have much to say on the concept, man. I'm kind of over Umar right now, because I wish he would do better. Because I'm like, bro, if you're really nice, like there's people who are nice at you know, pulling the wool over people's eyes. Those people exist. Like, Umar is getting sloppy. That's why I'm like, that's really what it is. I'm like, bro, you're not even trying hard no more. Like, I respect the competitor who's going to bring his A game every time. Like, this dude's getting sloppy, man. I contradicted himself, man. I'm just on YouTube. I only watched a couple of his interviews. I'm like, this ain't even hard. It's not even hard to disprove some of the stuff you're talking about. Come on, do better, bro.
Well, I guess I just say this for those that don't know, coming out fine. Okay, cool. So African spirituality is an ambiguous term. When you think about Africa, there's a lot of countries and there's a lot of spiritual practices that's there. So it's all over the place. So certain parts of Africa do the ancestor worship. Keep in mind, Egypt is a part of Africa. From my knowledge, don't quote me on this, I didn't see a lot of ancestor worship in that part of Africa. So I'm not sure to how we can pinpoint what his real belief is, or his faith, excuse me, his real religious beliefs are. So for those that don't know, I'm just the people that don't know ancestor worship, just look at it as a community of the dead. The difference between Western religions versus Eastern religions, that the Western religions are more of a linear practice, beginning, middle, then the end. Certain African spiritualities on the West focus is more similar to reincarnation. So it's a circular effect. So you're on Earth, you die, you're in the community of the dead, you're the ancestor, and you come back within, well, I say reincarnation within the human form, and you come back in and help or embody the humans of today. So,
right. So basically, you come back after you die, you come back and possess somebody.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Or possess a new shell.
It's different. Like I said, it's 1,000 religious practices. Some say you come back as the person, or you come back as angels to protect whoever is practicing these rituals.
So it's super vague. It's very polytheistic, and you know, in the Western world,
I'm not saying it's vague. It's a lot.
It's varied.
Many religions that, so we don't know exactly what Dr. Umar really believes, because different religious practices do different things. So when
he's going to be teaching it to your children, though.
Yeah, there's 1,000 different languages in Africa that some survive. So you got to think, if there's 1,000 different languages, probably got to be at least, almost that amount of different religious practices. Even people within the same religious context, may practice, like, just like if you're Romans, may practice worship Apollos and Zeus, and that's the Greeks, but Jupiter, Neptune. So they may be worshiping all these different people within the same pantheon of gods, if you will, or something like that. So same thing in Africa. There's got to be at least hundreds of religions out in there. Which one are you gonna pick out? They're picking out. They're picking out whatever. I don't know how you picked out the ones you picked out, but it definitely is one of those things where So I want to get back to the messianic thing real quick. I want to say this. He is now promoting a religion in his school.
Yep.
And it's a religion that we have to go through him to really understand. He's going to hire teachers. He's going to have students make it mandatory for them to, he says just to learn about it, but you don't think they're going to be doing some of those cadences in there and, for the kids to understand, they got to practice it and exercise it to understand it. So he's going to be teaching these kids this religion. He's telling the parents, oh, look, they don't have to actually do it. Just they got to learn about it. But he's going to, this is Dr. Umar. This is what your ancestors did before the white man took you away. This is what your ancestors practiced. You think those kids are going to be conflicted in their mind going like, well, I go to this place 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, and I'm here reading this, and then I only learn my religion on Saturday or Sunday, whatever day your particular religion practices. Look at how that's going to balance out numerically. So parents, you need to be aware of that. When you listen to Dr. Umar saying you don't have to practice it, but they're going to have to learn about it, is he going to substantiate that this religion is accurate, it's truthful, what's the vetting process on this religion? How did he choose this one? Why should we believe it? Why should we even learn about it? How is helping my kid compete in this world by learning this particular religion?
Right, because how is it preparing you to go out into the real world? Especially because in the real world, to be honest, this goes along with his separatist narrative. So he's actually not preparing them to go into the real world. He's preparing you to separate from the real world. What's out there? He's preparing you to go into and create what would essentially be a Black Wall Street and just stay to ourselves.
But I mean, he had to use a white person to do the AC for him. So I'm assuming they're still going to be interacting with the outside world. I mean, especially until at least they graduate high school, if they don't go to college.
Well, that's what I'm saying. My point. That's my point exactly. Like how deep does this go?
Yeah.
How does this work? If you ever dealt with white people, is it dead? Are you dead out here? Because that's what he was accusing the Joe Budden co-host who said, like, listen, I've fallen in love with a Black woman before and another Black woman, and essentially he was like, nah, you don't have no reality, no loyalty to the Black community. So should we believe in?
Or should we say because you got a white guy to do your AC?
That's what I'm saying.
I kept waiting for Black people to do it, and I couldn't find them to do it. They wouldn't do a good job. They would try to overcharge me. They would get to it too late. Whatever. So did you go find another Black company? Yeah, I did. You find another Black company? You go on and on Black companies over and over.
Yeah, you try all the Black companies in the world. Hey, maybe Oshun was blocking his pathway.
Focus and opportunity.
Exactly. Oshun must have been blocking his pathway, trying to get him to figure something out. And that man went with the white man. Terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible.
I do want to rephrase. Let me rephrase what I said earlier. I said Western religions are more linear. I want to clarify Judaic Christian is more linear because Western religions, you got Greek religions, Roman religions, and I doubt I know that they're different. They are different from Judaic.
Yeah, they're very polytheistic.
Yeah, so
polytheistic is what I was looking for.
I also want to make a point. Well, I'm gonna just say what I remember. What Dr. Umar was saying, I didn't notice. I'm gonna say what I noticed. I didn't notice gender-wise. I heard him say your daughters. I heard him say if you marry a husband. It seemed like from what I heard, it seemed like he was targeting that speech to women. It did seem like that. I could go back and listen to it. Did y'all notice that too?
Nah, not really. I did notice he referred to somebody who was the guy who won the lottery was supposed to set his daughters up.
Yeah, I heard daughters. I kept hearing gender-wise. I kept hearing females. Marry this husband. If you marry this husband, set your daughters up. I did hear that.
Yeah.
It could be, it could be nothing, but
I
something.
also want to think like, so basically everybody that hit the lottery and didn't set their family up for success, have they all failed? Like they are all failure stories. None of them are successful. Because if that's if we go with his along with the Yorubic religion, then Oshun don't like that. It's not how he plays, so he's gonna block your path. And it would, for me, it would only take one or two maybe people who that didn't apply to for me to start questioning things like I need more answers. Which again, I'm not saying he doesn't have answers, but I'm saying I need more from you. Basically,
Yeah.
the way you said it, the way you set it up is this is an infallible concept. But all I need is to find one or two people that it doesn't apply to, and then I got questions for you, bro.
Well, Vulcan, do you want to expand on why you said we could actually consider him a cult leader just based
Oh yeah,
on
yeah.
this video
Well,
alone?
I mean, I'll do that. I didn't really want to, but I'll do that.
Oh, you don't. Okay.
I did it in the last video, but I'll do it here too. But I want to say this part first. When it comes to these different religions, we got to deal with the reality of a lot of these religions didn't produce enough to stay relevant in today's time period. Islam did, Christianity did, Judaism did. A lot of the other religions, they're dead religions. Which means that they did not inspire the people to erect what's the word I want to use? Erect practices and behaviors and thoughts that would create a society that would be able to sustain hardship. So that's my issue with a lot of these people pulling practices from the past and trying to apply them back today. The scientific method, that's very Abrahamic in the way that it comes out. It has to do with the uniformity of nature. Not all religions produce the same level of utility in the real world.
Success. Not all. Some of these religions are failed religions. I.e., if you believe in the religion of Yoruba and Oshun, and show me where it works.
Because how's that going to work out scientifically? If you're thinking that the reason why your car crashed twice is because whatever deity he says does that, you can't scale that. That doesn't jive the law of uniformity. You see what I'm saying? So my whole point is saying, like, that's the part that I don't think that he maybe understands, is that different religions give rise to different ideas. The law of uniformity, that we have in science that assumes that the future will be like the past. That's a biblical principle. When Isaac Newton was looking at the trees and apples and stuff falling down, in his mind, he was like, well, God's a creative being who's very intelligent. I believe that if I use my intelligence, I can discover the mystery of this world. It's the glory of God to conceal the matter, and the glory of the king to search it out. That's what inspired Isaac Newton, Copernicus, Galileo, Mendel, all these different people that you I don't know. Sorry, I'm not about Louis Pascal. That's what I want to say, not Mendel. There's different people here that have these different scientific developments that they did. A lot of that was based off their adoration for the Bible, for Judeo-Christianity. And when they would read the Bible, the belief of the Bible made them think that I could go out and discover the world, that it's actually discoverable. Not all religions believe the world is discoverable. Some religions, like pantheistic religions, believe the world is eternal and always existed. They don't believe that it was created. That
man, these is white men who believe in the white man religion.
Yeah. So a lot of those things fly in the face of what we know in science today. So when he's saying that your car crashed, you might have believed that, oh, my car's crashing. Now I'm wondering if because the Bible doesn't teach that. The Bible doesn't teach that if you're having hardship, it means that you probably didn't finish. You're getting karma and stuff like that. Bad things happen to good people, and good things happen to bad people in the Bible. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I could do my experiment in the lab. I don't think, oh, this didn't work because my karma. The reason why when I dropped the ball this time it floated instead of falling, it's because of a bad karma. No. It's the law of uniformity.
That's why it's seemingly a failed religion, because I'm pretty sure when you're talking about experimentation and you put in certain controls, okay, I did everything I was supposed to. I did everything the religion said I was supposed to. So theoretically, my life should be gravy this whole time.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
good.
So
That's good.
At some point in time, somebody try to put that into practice.
so yeah. So
And
as far as the him erecting himself as a Messiah, I covered in the last video. You know, he's not allowed to be. The main thing that makes somebody a messianic figure, like a Messiah complex, someone who can't be questioned. Everything they say, he's already said, I'm the King Kong Kosh, I'm the most requested scholar, living or dead. Nobody will debate me. Nobody can hold a candle to me. I have to compare myself to my ancestors because I can't compare myself to anybody that's living right now. That's messianic. You got to come through me to get this information because there's nobody around that can provide this for you. That's messianic.
You got to come through me.
Yeah, that's a messianic language right there. I'm going to create a school and put my religion in this school and make it mandatory for you to learn it. That's messianic.
Or at the very least, cult leader-ish.
Well, yes, that's what I mean by messianic. Cult leader-ish. I mean, not every messiah is the same in every type of religion. So the thing is that the Muslims believe that Jesus was messianic. They don't believe he was God in the flesh. So they would believe he's messianic. He was a prophet that came to talk about God, to teach the Jews about God, what the Muslims believe. In the same way, Dr. Umar could be believed to be the Messiah to come and teach blacks about the true way to achieve nirvana, or whatever he would call the bliss of his particular religious belief. And the thing is, you have to go through him. Nobody can contest him. Anybody who says something opposite what he's saying or disagrees with him is labeled a coon, or they're outsiders. They're blasphemers.
That's good. That's good. So we go around. That's good. I think we covered a lot today, fellas. So close the statements, starting with me. Again, for the audience, this is a platform that embraces diversity of thought. So come as you are. Keep that in mind when you come to this platform, that a lot of ideas could be sophisticated, Socratic, maybe explicit. No, I'm sorry. Maybe implicit and implicit and explicit. So just keep in mind, think about your thinking while you're thinking. And that's it. So yeah. Vulcan and then fresh and close.
So yeah, I just want everybody to focus on the fact that you have to arm yourself with good reasoning skills. Learn logic, study logic. You can YouTube it, you can buy books on it, you can Google it. It's not something that's going to take you. The thing about logic or reasoning, you can spend your whole life learning about it and ensconcing yourself and everything that goes along with it. But to get a firm foundation doesn't take that long. Within a week's amount of study, you can have a good foundation, and your discernment's going to go through the roof. I always like to share this with people who are religious and non-religious. Discernment is not a mystical force that takes over your body and gives you knowledge you didn't have otherwise. A lot of folks, especially a lot of us that came out of very charismatic Pentecostal churches that grew up in those kind of things, we can look at discernment as God's like whispering in your ear some truth. Did God tell you that? I'm waiting on God to tell me this. The Bible doesn't teach that way. We'll give a discernment. The man who presents his case first seems right. Another person comes across, examines it. There's the way it's right to a man, but then it leads to death. These texts show us that you can have a certain way you think about doing things and find out that by cross-examination or by reasoning through a process, studying, learning, that, hey, look, I'm actually going in the wrong direction. This is not actually the right direction. And you could learn that from learning critical thinking and reasoning. So just keep that in mind, y'all. Always be on the lookout for fallacies that you hear. It may not mean the person's wrong, but it means it's a bad argument. So if you're listening to somebody for 5 minutes and they make 2 or 3 arguments and they want you to believe what they believe and only one of the arguments makes any sense, is that sufficient for you to believe? You got to weigh that out.
All right, fresh.
Do your Googles, people. That's really the gist of what we're saying. Do your Googles, but not just for the sake of gathering information, but gathering information for the sake of utilizing logic and reason to come to your own conclusion. That's all we're saying. I'm going to continue to say it in that basic term so everyone can get it. Just do your Googles, gather this information, If you're true, if you're truly using critical thinking, you'll gather information from both sides and see which one weighs out. Like Vogan said, weigh it out, see what makes sense, see what doesn't make sense, and then base your decisions and your beliefs off of that. There's a scientific method to examine any principle, any concept, any belief, anything that someone presents, and that's all we're saying. We're not saying what to believe. We're not saying why you should believe it. We're saying how you should examine what people are telling you to come to your own conclusions. Free thought. Please, 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 folks, do your Googles, read for understanding, and all that understanding.
All right. That's good. That's good. So until next time. Until next time. All
That's
right.
it, folks.
Okay.